Okay, y'all. So y'all have questions about Big Shirley Duncan, and I got answers. Let's get into it. What's up, y'all? What is up? It is your girl EJ, the TV Junkie, back with another The Family Business New Orleans talk. And y'all have been blowing up the comments asking about Big Shirley Duncan. Now, Big Shirley is not a character that you would know about unless you read the book Grand Opening 1 and 2. This is where we're introduced to Big Shirley. And listen, she is a big character with a lot to say. And I think that you guys are going to thoroughly enjoy this character. I feel like it is going to bring a different side to this whole Duncan story, and I'm excited for it. Now, I will say this. I was not initially drawn into this character. I didn't have a really big connection with her, and that could be because I am a Duncan loyalist and I love me some Chippy and LC, and we're going to learn that she is not quite feeling them at all. So that could play a part in why I didn't feel that connection as I was reading The Family Business New Orleans. But I am hoping that as we get into the television show, especially with the character being played by Leela Rashawn, that might be a little bit different. So I don't know. We shall see. But I'm going to give you everything that you need to know about Big Shirley Duncan, and it won't be any spoilers in this at all. Okay, y'all. So Big Shirley Duncan found herself working in a brothel in Waycross, Georgia at the age of 17. She worked in a brothel by the name of Big Sam's. Now, you might know Big Sam's from when we met Chippy Duncan and we found out that this is the same brothel that she worked at. Well, her and Chippy definitely crossed paths, and they were not exactly friends in the beginning. You see, Big Shirley was actually the top dog before Chippy ever came into the picture. She was one of Sam's bottom bees, and she was one of his top earners, and she was there with him from the very beginning. She actually was there with him for over 18 years, loyal to a fault. And even though he kind of pushed her to the side and started sleeping with the other girls as they would come in and doing the same exact thing that he did to Chippy, he did to Shirley, she still did what she had to do and made sure that she did her job, and she did her job well. That's why she got the name Big Shirley. She was voluptuous, and the men absolutely loved her. So, I mean, okay, Big Shirley. Now, a funny fact about Big Shirley is that she's actually been with a couple of these Duncan brothers because she gave LC his first BJ. She was a regular. She was one of Lou's regulars. So Lou was a regular at the brothel. He was always in there. You know, Lou. And she was one of his ones, one of his go-to girls that he was always with. And then, of course, there is Levi. So she knows those Duncan brothers pretty well. So anyway, y'all, we are also going to find out that Big Shirley is a very important part of the story. And I say this because she gets tons of chapters in both the Grand Opening 1 and the Grand Opening 2. And that tells me that this is just a character that we need to know more about. Now, we are going to find out that there's going to be a situation where she needs some help. She's a little bit short, and she needs to be able to pay Sam, and she got her head, so she goes to see Lou to see if Lou will help her out. But Lou is out of town, and she's going to end up instead finding Levi. Now, if you have never listened to me talk about the Grand Opening or listened to me talk about Levi or ever read the books, then it's important to know that first and foremost, let me go back for a second. Levi is the fourth brother of the Duncan brothers. There's Larry, there's Lou, there's LC, there's Levi, right? So there are four brothers. And he is the brother that is, he's what one would call a simpleton is how they describe it in the book. He's a little bit slower, he stutters, but he's a big guy, and he's really, really lovable, and he's very, very protective of his family, and he absolutely loves the P word because, of course, Lou introduced it to him a while ago, and so he loves it. So when Big Shirley came out there looking for Lou, instead, she finds Levi, and Levi wants some, and and he has his own money and he can pay for it. And so, Larry oversees the deal to make sure don't nobody, try to mess over him. But that's kind of how they meet. And they just kind of rocked with each other ever since then. I mean, even though she didn't go into it thinking that she would, fall for this guy that they would consider to be a simpleton, she ended up really, really liking him, and fast forward after all of the events that happened at Big Sam's, and now she has taken over Big Sam's and is now called Big Shirley's. Her and Levi have been together for over 4 years at this point, and now she's pregnant with Trent Duncan. Now, Trent Duncan should be familiar to you because Trent Duncan we met in season 1 when he came out and he went with Orlando to see Consuelo and Manny. And Consuelo was on her get back, and she ended up unaliving Trent instead of Orlando because Trent said that he was Orlando. Well, that is Levi and Big Shirley's oldest son. So we are going to find out that they actually have two grown sons, Marquise and Trent. And of course, I'm sure that this is going to be some of the cause of the contention that she has with Chippy and LC because her son was unalived on their watch. We are absolutely going to learn that Big Shirley is not feeling either one of them. And I think that this has a lot to do with it and probably some other things as well, but mainly this is the biggest source of it. Now, we are going to learn a few things about Levi, but not very much. We know that in the grand opening, they kind of just left us hanging when it came to the character Levi. And in the television show, they never actually talk about Levi. So we don't know very much about his life after that. When we get to the Family Business Book 7, New Orleans, we do find out that Big Shirley and Levi did get divorced and that she went back to New Orleans, that she inherited her family's business. Now, don't ask me why she didn't inherit this business before or where this business was when she was out there, wowing it up at Sam's brothel. I really don't know. But nevertheless, she ends up with her family's inheritance and she ends up being the boss of this business. She runs it along with her brother Floyd, who's played by Pooch Hall in this, and with Marquise, her younger son, who is being played by Brandon T. Jackson. They kind of run this whole Midnight Blues thing. Now, when it comes to Big Shirley and the family, they are very much estranged. She feels like when her and Levi were no longer together, like the family just kind of left her. Now, how true that is, I don't know, because we are looking at this from her perspective. And we always know that when people tell their perspective of things, it may not necessarily be what actually happened or went down. It's just how they feel per se. Now, we know that her and Nene were really, really close at one point, but even her and Nene were no longer as close as they were. So the family had not been seeing each other. The boys, they used to hang out together and play together. That's why Trent and Orlando were so close. That's why Curtis and Junior were so close, because they used to actually be a close-knit family when it came to their kids, their nieces and their nephews and all of that. But, somewhere down the line, stuff happened. Now, although we know that her and Levi split, we never actually know what happened to her and Levi. Now, I have it on good authority that we probably will learn this information. It may not be in this particular season, but it will come about at some point in the Family Business New Orleans. So I am excited to see how Levi's story goes, even if it's, coming out in a book later, or if we find out in the television show later. We really need to know about this fourth brother, where he's at, if he's still alive. Like, we need to know all the details. So I'm hoping that at some point we'll go ahead and get the rest of that story. Now, I already told you guys that Big Shirley absolutely does not like LC and Chippy. And like I said, I feel like a lot of this has to do with, of course, Trent being unalived on their watch. But not only that, she does talk about how she doesn't like the violence and the guns and the stuff that comes along with the business that they're in. I find it really interesting that Big Shirley takes this approach to it because her casino, the Midnight Blues, I mean, all sorts of shady things happen at this place. And she's no stranger to the blicky. She's no stranger to violence. She worked in a brothel, for crying out loud. And her club, Midnight Blues, is not by any means a upstanding upscale place where nothing happens and no backdoor deals happen. So I find it interesting that she takes this approach as to why she doesn't like LC and Chippy. So I think it's going to be interesting to really get into this character and to really learn more about this character. I'm hoping that she will bring the character to life and allow me to be able to really connect with that character and love her character just as much as I love LC and Chippy, So I guess we shall see once we kind of see the show and get into it. But those are some of the major things about Big Shirley. I don't want to go into a lot of things about the family business New Orleans because I don't want to spoil anything. And I really don't know what they're going to bring from the book and what they're not going to bring from the book. But I do feel like having that backstory of Big Shirley and having knowing some of the things about her from the grand opening will really help to bring us into this new television show as we get to know this new character and this new family. So let me know if you've read the book, The Grand Opening. What do you think about the character Big Shirley? What are you most excited to see going into this new television series? And if you've never read the books before, then let me know what you're most excited to learn about Big Shirley and what your overall thoughts of after learning about some of her backstory is from this video. Go ahead and get the conversation started down below, guys. Meanwhile, if you like this video, make sure to go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to your girl channel. Turn on your notifications so that you do not miss out on any of my future The Family Business Talks, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.